野球は団体競技。それぞれに役割があるからね。でも呪術師はあくまで個人競技。
他の術師との連携は大事でしょ。
まあね。でも周りに味方が何人いようと、死ぬ時は一人だよ。
Gojo's words to Megumi are one of importance in truth. Being a Jujutsu Sorcerer benefits from working as a team to kill curses. But in Jujutsu Kaisen, this can take you so far. A Jujutsu Sorcerer has a distinctive truth. They end up dying with regret. This is something that has been echoed time and time again. Within all of this, only the strongest survive and persevere through. They become what some may call special. But we are going to find out exactly who is strong enough alone using Jujutsu Kaisen ranking system. Usu! What's up guys, my name is Jake Xiao. We are going to unravel the Jujutsu Sorcerers in order of weakest to strongest, up to date in the Culling game. There will be manga spoilers to let you know from the jump. This will definitely be a fun video. Leave a like on the video. I think I'ma up the goal this time to 30 likes. I actually trust you guys to do it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the post notifications for more Jujutsu Kaisen bangers. Comment below if you agree or disagree with some of the rankings, and let's see what's in store for today. Junpei is pretty much a grade 4 sorcerer, due to him not honing his skills or having any experience. He unlocked his curse technique although his brain was meant to be one of a non-sorcerer. Kenjaku adjusted his brain for sorcery, which pretty much shows he wasn't meant to have it in the first place. And he got smacked up pretty bad by Yuji too, an inexperienced Yuji at that. And since we were ranking him on fighting alone, it's pretty much over for the boy Junpei. Mai was shown first when she ambushed Nobara in a pretty funny exchange. She's part of the Kyoto group and was Maki's sister. She was able to use curse construction also, which made her very unique. Although this is impressive, it seems to take a lot of cursed energy from her. She is remaining a grade 3 sorcerer mainly because there hasn't been any significant progress in her since the Kyoto Goodwill event. The only thing I can remember is her shooting Kenjaku and losing to her dad Ogi Zenin. It's probably going to stay like that for a while since she's pretty much dead. That's tough. We also have a useless Miwa who is able to wield a sword with a simple domain shadow style. She doesn't really make the cut to go to the next grade, as she really doesn't show a lot of progress in Jujutsu Kaisen since the Goodwill event. She fought Kenjaku, she was about to hit him with the meanest swing of all time, and then Kenjaku just broke the sword and said hold on, wait a minute, and then hit her with the maximum Utamaki to obliterate her completely. Thank God she was saved. But this is the conclusion of the grade 3 sorcerers. This character was someone that I didn't know if I wanted to do. Awasaka is in a very interesting position because he is not the greatest when you figure out his technique. He depends on it very heavily that you don't know, and there's also a limit for both ways in terms of using his inverse. In addition, his offense is not really great. He can however wield a knife as he pleases, but if you fight him long enough you'll probably be able to figure it out. And yeah, that is why Awasaka is gonna be remaining in this position. Momo is able to manipulate her broom to levitate. She's also very good at keeping distance away from the enemy as she did against Nobara. However, she's a semi-grade 2 due to the fact that she hasn't really showed anything impressive as of yet. She has an ability named Wind Scythe that has not been proven effective thus far. So Momo remains a semi-grade 2 sorcerer after not really showing anything for me to judge to bring her to a higher grade. Next up we have Nobara, who is a grade 2 sorcerer and is a very situational fighter. I feel when it comes to speed she does lack in that department, but once she touches you or grabs you, even with a speck of hair, her grade shoots up tremendously. She is not the most durable and all in all, very match up dependent. She realizes the difference and recognizes the gap between a grade 2 sorcerer and a grade 1 due to Nanami vs Haruta, in which she was practically losing to him throughout. Against Mahito is an example where she could be considered higher in the list, although it was a weaker version of him and a clone. Nobara is a very sticky situation, but if you guys in the comments do disagree with this, I wouldn't be mad if you said she's maximum semi-grade 1, but that's my opinion on Nobara. Next we have Haruta, who is surprisingly not as weak as some people think he is. He's really good at picking his moments. With his curse tool, the hand sword, he can attack his opponents effectively. The sword has the ability to detect people in his range, which allows it to hone in on the enemy. His miracle ability also allows him to store small miracles to then have them keep big miracles effective when he's fighting opponents. The only time he didn't was when he fought Sukuna, because his miracles pretty much ran out. He's also above Nobara after continuously being her and having fun while doing so. Utahime is known as a semi-grade 1 sorcerer. We see absolutely nothing from her whatsoever. To this day actually. We are anticipating to this day what her abilities actually are. But she's going to remain at semi-grade 1 just because that's where they say she is. Then we have Toji Inumaki. Toji Inumaki has been known as a very strong sorcerer, even from volume 0. He went on quite a few solo missions by himself due to his cursed speech ability. He limits his words so he doesn't actually curse somebody due to his cursed speech. Inumaki can control huge crowds, and the negative effect on his body is dependent on the user he is fighting. With this, the level of attacks he demands and the strength and people of higher grades can lead to a lot of coughed up blood. Against everyone below him and some people that are above, I can see his cursed speech actually working on them, but would he get the win is dependent on how much he's able to sustain. Next up we have Panda. Panda is a character that has definitely leveled up. This especially stems from his fight against Mekamaru, someone who is claimed to be a semi-grade 1 sorcerer. Panda, using his cores with one still unknown to this day, which is his sister core, has proven interesting along the way. I believe this position is right for Panda as a semi-grade 1 sorcerer. Norotoshi Kamo. Norotoshi is a semi-grade sorcerer as well, which in my opinion wouldn't be surprising if he increases to a grade 1 sooner. After his fight with Megumi Fushiguro, in which he held back, he did end up fighting Hanami, which did prove futile. We found out he does doping too. Being able to enhance all his physical attributes, there is a clear notice in the difference in power between him and Choso within the Shibuya arc, which he then sees as his way to improve his blood manipulation. Onto the grade 1 sorcerers. First up, we got Yaga, who is the teacher of Gojo and Geto. We know that he can create cursed puppets, and we have not seen him fight thus far. In fact, we might never see that, even though he was able to create a great specimen such as Panda. He is known as a grade 1 sorcerer, so that is why he is positioned here. Yoshinobu. This higher up was shown to be around the grade 1. Although I believe he could be lower, he did end up killing Yaga. Yes, I know, it was off guard, but there's not many things to suggest he would have lost. In addition, he did take quite a while to beat Jozo and struggled at that. This is evident as Gojo, came from the sky to help him first. This is being very generous, and to keep it real, I don't really care about him. So you guys could tell me where you think he should be placed, and I wouldn't mind where, unless you do something crazy. Now we got the boy Nanami. Nanami is a grade 1, as a grade 1 can get. Being able to escape with his life against Mahito, even though he was touched, to then load different Haruta. Nanami is a man that doesn't want to waste time, and grade 1 is pretty much a good place for him. His disadvantage is most definitely his ability to protect himself against domain expansion. This was clearly evident against Mahito and Dagon. Nanami growth is pretty much gonna stop there though, due to the fact that his death in the Shibuya arc was quite tragic. Megumi Fushiguro. His potential is crazy. The user having the 10 shadow techniques, which is a family treasure, makes his potential even more crazy. But this is not about potential, it is about who is the strongest. Megumi has outright shown his ability to think on the fly against numerous oppositions. Toji and Reggie is who I could think of right away. Megumi also adding onto his arsenal multiple cursed tools that he carries within his shadows itself, along with an almost complete domain expansion which is proved situational. Megumi is put right here. As Jujutsu Kaisen goes on, he continues to impress everyone with his abilities, and if he tames Maharaga, he is going to be going up considerable amount. And I'll go as far as to say he will be officially a special grade sorcerer. Next up we have Ayuri Todo, the man that shaped Yuji Itadori with his immense physical prowess as well as his impressive intelligence. His IQ is over the roof. He has shown that he can hang with special grade curses indeed. He's also performed the Black Flash against Mahito. The Boogie Woogie is perfect for fighting against other sorcerers with others, whereas by himself is not as much as effective. Todo thrives in a team setting. He can switch not only with himself but his opponents too. Curse tools that he prepares beforehand can be clapped in at random if he desires to. So with Yuji Itadori, he has definitely shot himself up to grade 1 sorcery. He has evolved and been said to be like a demon god by Choso. He has had death matches with Choso and Mahito, which has amped up his experience. With the digestion of Sukuna's fingers, he has most definitely taken himself above the caliber of Todo. I think for him to get to that next level, he would need to unlock his curse technique. Besides his natural athletic skills, his curse energy control definitely needs some work. For example, with the curse energy control on the knife that he used against Yuta. In addition, he would need to find a way to counter domain expansions, since it seems that he's very vulnerable to them. Grade 1 sorcerer Mei Mei is a very strong sorcerer, in fact is called strong by Satoru Gojo himself. She has a very strong physical prowess to the point she pointed out the human cap she felt she reached. Not only that, she learned to master her curse technique by controlling the crows. This was shown against Geto, Smallpox Deity, special grade curse. With the help of Yu, simple domain, and the situation, she was able to defeat it. That's why she usually brings along Yu. After encountering Kenjaku, we then see her dip to Malaysia. That guy was someone not to mess with. So that is the order for grade 1. So now we're on to the special grade 1s, and the first character up is Jinichi. He is known as a special grade 1 sorcerer, but in reality I don't see it just because nothing has been shown to us. But that is the claim that they've made within the show, and that's pretty much all I can say on that. Facing Maki didn't really help his case at all. Next we have OG Zenin, and he was definitely a strong foe. After beating Maya Maki, it was the first time we saw him fight. He presented us his swordsmanship and was able to even cut Maki with a broken blade. This was a man that really wanted to kill his kids for sure. Naoya Zenin. Now, Naoya Zenin is placed here and there's no surprise why. He was able to fight with Maki for a bit after her awakened state. Naoya has the ability to move incredibly fast, similarly to Naobito Zenin. He showed his against Choso also. If Naoya used weapons, he would be such a lethal opponent. Then again, the conditions are not as easy against everyone. You may have to touch the person first to then activate the curse technique. They must abide to the 24 frames per second rule. Next up, we have Choso, the man that came out on top against his brother Yuji. He is very strong opponent with great blood manipulation and variety of attacks. He is very durable and tough to break down. Against Yuji, he was persistent, and even within a weakened position with water around him, he was able to still defeat Yuji. This pushes him up the ranks, and not only this, but his fight against Naoya Zenin also proves his competence with fast fighters. Naobito Zenin. Similarly to Naoya, Naobito is known to have this move first, which Naoya actually inherited from him. He is known as the fastest sorcerer excluding Satoru Gojo. He is able to get down his foes and access to strategic movement. When fighting against Dagon, he was a huge asset to almost defeating him, and he even has a simple domain ability which he can use against a domain expansion. Overall, Naobito is definitely a strong sorcerer and one of the fastest alive. So we enter the stage of the cursed spirits. They have their own special ranking due to how similar they are to each other. and they're pretty much better than everyone that is below them. This is where it gets interesting. We are entering the stage of the big dogs. Hanami was a dangerous cursed spirit that believed the suffering humans caused the environment as unforgivable. Hanami was able to deal with students no problem until he fought Yuji and Ayumi Todo. He struggled to grasp a foothold in the fight and was hit with consecutive black flashes. Although was about to use the domain expansion, Hanami was stopped by Gojo and dipped, knowing that he's not foolish enough to face him, but he still got hit with the hollow purple, which blew off half of his body. Next up, we have Dagon. Dagon is really strong, and I mean really strong. If it was not for Toji, he would have been able to kill Megumi, Naobito, Maki and Nanami. Dagon post-transformation brought everyone into a domain expansion. This definitely showed the gap in level between him and their foes. To be able to contain Naobito Zenin means a lot, especially with his speed. The only reason he actually didn't end up winning was due to Toji Zenin. Besides that, he is shown to be one of the strongest within Jujutsu Kaisen. Next up we have Jogo, and he is a very underrated character, with many people of the community thinking he is weak. Fighting the likes of Gojo and Sukuna, he usually gets his ass whooped, but he is most definitely able to hold his own against the rest. He was said to be around Sukuna at fingers 7 and 8 if generous. This accompanied with the fact that he is stated to be stronger than Dagon after Dagon died to Toji, then causing him to blitz everyone such as Naobito, Maki and Nanami. With the addition of the domain expansion, he can overpower everybody below him and most definitely can come out as a victor. Mahito. This man is the most powerful and most complicated cursed spirit to fight. He is one that is most weak to his natural enemies. As we know right now, Yuji and Nobara are those. He has to be hit within his soul to actually affect him, meaning his durability is crazy. He has access to idol transfiguration, which pretty much decimates the characters that he fights against. He just needs one touch and is bye bye. If Mahito unleashes a domain expansion, this in and of itself gives him the access to your soul, and it's a short hit domain. This is why cursed spirits have their own special ranking, and they can beat pretty much the people below one-on-one, and the people above also have their own grade called the special grade. For this section, I separated special grade as lower and higher. Lower meaning the people that could potentially be special grade and is itching to that point, and higher actually being people who are definitively special grade, and we know that thus far. So to start off on the lower end, we are going to be starting with Shiguru Geto. Geto is the best friend of Satoru Gojo and died to Gojo after fighting Yuta. He was known for his curse manipulation and capturing curses. This led to him being claimed as one of the strongest sorcerers to exist. He has high curse energy output and his special technique, the maximum Uzumaki. Shiguru lost to Rika and Yuta as he got overpowered with the combination even in the Uzumaki. His speed, close combat and adaptation proves very useful to him and why he is this high within the rankings, with his younger version almost being a special grade. It's safe to say almost a decade later he became a special grade sorcerer. Next up we have Maki Zenin. Well, Maki is an interesting one. With the saving of Yuki through reverse curse technique, she was able to stay alive and well with a scar on her face. She lost to her father in a 1v1 until Mai sacrificed herself to save her. This resulted into an absolute bloodbath where she decimated Ogi Zenin with no difficulty whatsoever, and this resulted into her being put in a special grade position. When it comes to outright speed and effectiveness, I do believe she does outweigh Choso. More time because of when she was fighting Naoya, she was able to clock onto the technique of the 24 frames per second and react within that time also. But what do you guys think? If she's relative to Toji, I do believe she's going to be in the special grade spot. Toji motherfucking Zenin is a menace. He is the only person to shift the balance of his people, of this world, doing assassinations and things of that nature. This Jujutsu sorcerer ended up killing Satoru Gojo, leaving him on the floor in despair. Also he fought. Toji then came up against Dagon, and the boy oh boy did he put on the show. He defeated the strongest Shikigamis Dagon had to offer easily, which shocked Dagon, and Toji sharpening the playful cloud like a blade. Where this is tough. Toji lost to Gojo, really and truly, but he smoked Geto while he was young. And if I'm gonna put the adult Geto up here, then it would be more of a battle between the two. But I do think the outcome will be the same because Toji really didn't try at all when he was fighting Geto in the first place. And not to mention he was rusty. So this higher bracket is most definitely the one. The definitive special grade sorceries that we will touch in order. First things first though, we are gonna choose Yuki. Yuki hasn't showed us much besides saving everyone from an ice collapse from Yume. She was the master of Ayuri Todo and has been goated ever since. Might be safe to assume she is most definitely strong, but that's all for now when it comes to Yuki. Yuta Okotsu. I could talk about this bad boy all day, but he has too much in his locker. Firstly, Yuta is a registered special grade. Ever since channeling his inner Rika via cursed technique, it has limit of 5 minutes in where he can copy an attack, keep and collect cursed tools, and more. The ability to use reverse curse technique is also like a cheat code, and is essential, which makes his character very strong. He has been projected to become the next Satoru Gojo. Then next up we have Kenjaku. Now I know, Kenjaku hasn't even fought yet, but this is a mastermind that almost sent Miwa to the Shadow Realm. Kenjaku is goated indeed. His way of analyzing other people is a great strength, making him the most intelligent threat. For example, while getting attacked by Kyoto group, he was analyzing and assessing their abilities while reacting. Not only that, he is in Geto's body, who lost to Yuta Okotsu, so you may say Yuta Okotsu would be Geto, right? Or Kenjaku in this case. But he can see Geto's memories, and for him to underestimate Yuta after seeing Geto's memories does make him even more scary. Why on earth, seeing Yuta Okotsu how he was before, knowing what he's capable of, are you so confident against him? What do you have in the locker? There's something about him we don't know about for sure, which is why he is on top of the higher end when it comes to the special grades. First up, I want to give thanks for you guys watching this video so far, and a special mention to a couple of characters. The first character I'm going to give a special mention to is Hakuri. Hakuri has been shown within the Culling games and against Yuji Itadori to be one of the strongest within Jujutsu Kaisen. It has been explained by Yuta Okotsu himself that if he reached a state of getting hot, he is actually stronger than him. For someone to say that means they have to be within the same bracket, even if it's not true like Maki said. He might be in the higher end or the lower end, he's just in the middle so far, since we do not know all the information about him. But he is most likely going to be a special grade sorcerer. Now, the other characters such as Drew, Yuro, Ishiguri, they are all also special grades. They are going to be in the lower end. The reason they're going to be in the lower end is because Yuta Okotsu, who is in the higher end, pretty much washed them. He washed them all at once, and it wasn't even difficult for him. But that is what is stated as them being special grade. So yeah, it does really show you the difference between special grades even within the special grade section, which is why I made the bracket. In addition, I know there's Reggie as well. Reggie is definitely going to be a grade 1 sorcerer, even though he's an ancient sorcerer and you would expect him to be higher. I would put him in a grade 1 sorcerer position. He is definitely able to hold his own and he would beat a lot of people below him. Another character would actually be Takaba, who could potentially actually be the strongest within special grades. The reason I say he could be one of the strongest is because of his curse technique that he himself doesn't even know. If he was able to utilize the curse technique fully, he would be one of the strongest within Jujutsu Kaisen. And he also knows the durability that he has. His durability is amazing and he's able to do these things while busting jokes as well. What an amazing character. But yeah, this is what I have for the special mentions. All of these are potential special grades, plus some of them may be special grade already. And now let's get into the final section of this video. The very special grade. Now guys, I know this doesn't exist, and I know this is something that just seems completely made up, especially with the bracket stuff as well. But these are the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery, Gojo and Sukuna. These are gonna even be combined. In this section, I added an extra grade, because that explains really and truly the difference in power between these two characters and the rest of the cast. Gojo and Sukuna are both feared heavily in their respective timeline. Gojo is feared even more than Sukuna, but that's because sorcerers are also weaker in this timeline. Sukuna was literally called a natural disaster. A natural disaster, bruh. The reason Gojo is going to be ahead of Sukuna is because he has only 15 fingers at this time. And I'll be honest, 20 fingers versus Gojo, I have no clue who would win. They both are very strong, although Sukuna has more experience. One thing is undoubtable though, they are the best and would destroy anybody, anyone below them in this list. Gojo of Limitless and 6 Eyes versus Sukuna, the King of Curses, both with domain expansions that are incredibly refined and are the strongest individuals in Jujutsu Kaisen. That's all for this video. Weakest to strongest, all Jujutsu Kaisen characters. Comment down below your thoughts on which character you agree with and disagree with, if any. Thank you for watching and liking the video. You liked the video, right? And as I say to the new and old people that come and visit my channel, Njana.